Since the very start of Rainbow Six Siege, there has been one simple tactic that has gotten people thousands of kills. That one simple tactic is spawn peeking. Spawn peeking seems to be one of the most controversial subjects in Rainbow Six Siege history. While some people love it and will do it every game, other people hate it and think it shouldn't be within the game. So today I asked the question, should spawn peeking be removed from Rainbow Six Siege? Well, let's talk about it. Doing a spawn peek is probably one of the biggest high risk, high reward things you could do within Rainbow Six Siege. If done correctly, it could get you a free kill or two. However, if done incorrectly, it could lose you your life. Some people really like this risk and will do it every chance they get, while others don't really like it and would rather not take the risk at all. Regardless of where you stand, if you've played the game long enough, you've most definitely died from a spawn peek before, so you know how frustrating it is to be on the other end of it. It sucks to lose your life at the very start of the round just because someone is looking through a small hole in a barricade waiting for you to run out of spawn. Over time, you just naturally watch out for spawn peeks if you've died from a certain one multiple times just because you don't want it to happen again. But what if it couldn't happen at all to you? What if there was some sort of spawn protection added to the game? Well, that could cause a huge portion of the community to be really mad, maybe even to the point where they stop playing the game. However, it could also make a huge portion of the community happy and make them want to play the game even more or even return to the game. So honestly, it's a very touchy subject, as eliminating spawn peeking could start a full-blown war in the Rainbow Six Siege community. I think the only way to find out the right answer is to hear from both sides and weigh out the pros and cons. Personally, I'm going to try to stay neutral as I don't want my opinion to affect the reasoning of each side. Alright, so let's say you're on the side of the community who thinks spawn peeking should stay within the game. What exactly would be your reasons to why it should stay? Well, I think the first reason would be that it's something that takes a lot of knowledge, confidence, and skill to pull off. What I mean by this is, let's say you take someone who's brand new to the game and ask them to spawn peek. They're not going to know what you're talking about and what would even need to be done to be able to spawn peek. Then even if you explain it to them, they'll most likely be too nervous to even try it. This is because they don't have the knowledge, the confidence, and the skill that's necessary to be able to properly spawn peek and pull it off. There's people who are even experienced at the game and have been playing it for a while that won't even try it. That's because they too don't have the necessary knowledge, confidence, and skills to be able to do it either. See, spawn peeking isn't as simple as running up to a random window, breaking it, and getting a free kill or two. You have to know exactly what window to go up to, where to properly break it, and have the guts to actually go through with it. That's why you don't see everyone doing it, because it takes a lot to be able to do it when you actually break it down. Now, I'm not saying it's the hardest thing in the world, I'm just saying it does take a little bit to be able to properly pull it off. Additionally, another reason why spawn peeking should stay in the game is because it's a staple of the Rainbow Six Siege experience. It's something that's been within Siege since the start and continues to live on. It's just part of the Siege experience and should not be tampered with at all, because without it, Siege just wouldn't be Siege. It's like if they removed one-shot headshots from the game. It just wouldn't be the same game afterwards. It just wouldn't feel like Siege as much anymore. Furthermore, the final reason why spawn peeking should stay in the game is because it helps to create a skill gap. Really, only the good players are spawn peeking successfully. So as an attacker, if you're not looking out for the spawn peek, and you're not preparing yourself for it to potentially happen, then the defender who's doing the spawn peek gets rewarded for being the better player. If the attacker had just looked out for the spawn peek and pre-fired the barricade that the attacker is spawn peeking from, then they would have been the better player. It all comes down to your skill and your knowledge on this game, which in return creates a skill gap. Games need to have a skill gap of some sort so people are able to progress and better themselves. Without a good skill gap within the game, people will just get bored of it quickly and move on. There has to be a way to be better than others in order for there to be competition and player progression. Spawn peeking allows for the skill gap to be bigger, so if anything, spawn peeking is doing good for the game and giving it more opportunities to make players even better and more educated on the game. On the other hand, there's the side of the community that thinks spawn peeking should be removed from the game. What would their reasons be to why spawn peeking should be taken out of the game? Well, I think the first reason would be spawn peeking punishes new players way too much. If you're new to the game and you're consistently getting spawn peeked, which prevents you from being able to even play within the round, that's a huge turnoff. You're not going to want to play a one life game when you can't even try within the one life that you have because you die within the first 20 seconds from a little hole in some barricade that you didn't even know was there. In other words, it pushes people away from the game because they don't even get a chance to fully play the game since they're getting spawn peeked every round. So if spawn peeking wasn't in the game, then new players would actually want to stick around and give the game a fair chance, which in return brings in more people to the game. Likewise, another reason why people think spawn peeking should be removed from the game is because it takes away from the tactical element of the game. Rainbow Six Siege is supposed to be a slow and tactical first-person shooter, where you plan out your every move and work smart to win the game. But if you just have some person staring out a small little hole in a barricade waiting to gun you down, then there's nothing tactical about that. At that point, it just takes the fun out of the game and makes it feel more like a casual shooter compared to a tactical one. It's pretty much just rewarding players for playing more aggressively, which is not what the game needs right now. Seeing as how we're in the TDM meta, and most people hate the TDM meta, Ubisoft should want to do anything to slow players down and reward them for playing more tactically compared to aggressively. But with people spawn peeking every round of every game, it just adds to that aggression and makes the TDM meta flourish even more. If Siege is ever going to enter a more tactical meta again, then spawn peeking needs to go in order for that to happen. Moreover, the final reason why spawn peeking should be removed from the game is because it adds to the game being more defender-sided. As of right now, Rainbow Six Siege is starting to become more and more defender-sided. Most of the time, the defense has the advantage, and that's where you get most of your wins on most maps. It doesn't help that now you add the ability to kill the attackers right as they spawn. This gives the defenders even more of an advantage, as now the attackers have to start the round 1 or even 2 people down. Attacking is already hard as it is with a full squad, but when you're down someone, that makes it even worse. That's 2 less drones you have, 1 less gadget, and 2 pieces of equipment you could have potentially needed. It's even worse if it's someone who's playing the hard breacher that gets spawn peeked, because now you don't have anyone you could open the wall with. This gives the defenders a serious advantage, all because someone spawn peeked. That's why spawn peeking adds to the game being more defender-sided. If spawn peeking wasn't in the game, then the attackers could at least make it into the building safely now without worrying about dying in the spawn. This would give the attackers a little bit more of an advantage, which they desperately need right now. Alright, so now I've broken down reasons why spawn peeking should stay in the game and reasons why spawn peeking should be removed from the game. While there's definitely more reasons that could be added to the argument for both sides, I think the reasons I have listed are the main ones. The question now is what side of the community is actually right. Should spawn peeking be removed from the game, or should it stay? Well, I'm not sure. I think both sides have some really solid reasons for their arguments. I don't really think there's one clear answer here. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, it's really up to Ubisoft and what they think is the right answer. Surprisingly, I think they already have their answer, or at least maybe they do. Within the recent update for the new season of Rainbow Six Siege, they added spawn protection to quick play for the attackers. There's now a certain time frame in which the defenders cannot shoot outside the building once the attackers spawn. This way the attackers could safely get into the building without getting spawn peeked. Now, while this is only in quick play right now, this could potentially be something that they add to the other game modes as well. Think about it like this: what if putting this spawn protection in quick play is a way to experiment to see if it works well or not? If it does, then maybe they decide it could be good for other game modes as well. But who knows, that's just me theorizing. I don't know for certain that Ubisoft is actually going to do that or not. Maybe they really only want it in quick play and that's it. As of now, they haven't said anything about spawn protection coming to other game modes, but they also haven't said anything about it not coming to other game modes in the future. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. At the end of the day, if Ubisoft does decide to add spawn protection into its other game modes, then I hope it's based off of the community's feedback and what the majority of people want, rather than just what they think is right. In conclusion, spawn peeking is one of the most controversial subjects in Rainbow Six Siege history. While some people love it and want it to stay in the game, other people hate it and want to see it removed. Both sides of the community seem to have valid reasons to support their side of the argument, so really it's hard to determine what the right answer is. That is, if the answer even is the community's decision. It seems Ubisoft has recently also been wondering what to do about spawn peeking too, as they made a change in a recent update to add spawn protection to the quick play playlist. Now this change could just be strictly for quick play and we may never see in other game modes, but it also could potentially be added in other game modes as well. Really, we don't know. What we do know is spawn peeking is a very touchy subject, so whatever Ubisoft decides to do, hopefully it'll be in the hands of the majority of the community. That's it for me though. What do you guys think about spawn peeking in Rainbow Six Siege? Should it stay within the game? Should it be removed from the game? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, and if you want more content like this, then subscribe. Have a great day, everyone.